Chris McNulty, Director of Product Marketing for Project Cortex. We're here today at the Galactic Collaboration Summit to talk about all things Project Cortex, and I'm joined today by my colleague Naomi.
Thanks, Chris. I'm really excited to be with you at the Galactic Collaboration Summit and tell you all about Project Cortex, where I lead the product development team.
Project Cortex is, simply put, your knowledge network in Microsoft 365. But before we get started, let's talk about knowledge and, more importantly, Microsoft 365, the world's productivity cloud. It's the service that allows us to combine collaboration and communication and content to create services like Microsoft Teams. This year, Microsoft is embarking on a new journey with the launch of our latest service for Microsoft 365, Project Cortex, combining the best of your content with Microsoft Graph and AI to transform the way knowledge works for you and for your organization. We've spoken to many of you and we've heard a lot of needs, many relating to traditional content management, many relating to the future of AI and the challenges of modern productivity. We've distilled this into our mission statement for Project Cortex. Recognizing the pace of change in the world, knowledge and insights are essential to help people take the best next actions and helping organizations transform themselves to be more efficient and resilient. There are many ways that we look at those capabilities, but one of the metrics that we look at is just looking at how people come up to speed as they change jobs or change roles. In a typical organization, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly $9 million can be saved if we shave 1 week off of the time it takes for someone new in role to come up to speed. We've all been through this before, shadowing people in their jobs, going to meetings, asking dumb questions, so we think, encountering unfamiliar acronyms. It takes a long time to get up to speed and match the skills and knowledge of our more long-tenured colleagues. We recognize that we have a unique capability because the applications which form Microsoft 365 consume an awful lot of people's everyday work practice, whether we're looking at things like Microsoft Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, the Office client, and more. There's an awful lot of time people spend with Microsoft apps and services. And those apps and services help create tremendous density of content that lives inside the Microsoft 365 cloud. What brings all of that together is the Microsoft Graph. Simply put, the Graph is a means to provide a common interface to allow applications and developers to access and receive information about the people, content, communications, meetings, and more, which are all stored inside Microsoft 365. But the Graph is more than just an on-ramp for data. The Graph also provides AI to continuously monitor and track the interrelationship of how people communicate with each other, what content they have, to be able to make intelligent predictions and suggestions about what is going to be most relevant for each individual in context. The Graph helps us deliver things like personalized search results, and it is fundamental to how we extract knowledge from the insights we get from the Graph and be able to deliver insights about the best work practices which form the means for transforming organizations. Fundamental to all of this for us is Project Cortex, your knowledge network in Microsoft 365. Project Cortex is organized around 3 broad sets of capabilities. First, the challenges and the growth of content mean we need a better home than ever to be able to capture ever larger sets of unstructured information to live inside the Microsoft 365 cloud, and to combine that with our leading security and compliance capabilities to make sure that your collaborative and mission-critical content is always stored safely and minimizing risk. In addition to what we have inside of Microsoft 365, we're also introducing Microsoft Graph-based content connectors to allow you to reach out to content that lives outside of Microsoft 365, on-premises, in file shares, in Azure, in other apps and services from third parties such as MediaWiki, ServiceNow, Documentum, and more, all of which can be brought into the Graph to help make it indexed, searchable, and usable throughout Microsoft 365. The second part of that journey is around processing. We know that no one will have time to keep up with millions or billions of pieces of new information as it comes under management inside Microsoft 365. That's why Project Cortex introduces a range of AI capabilities to help you categorize your content to see what type of content it is and be able to extract the key facts, figures, people, location, details, summaries, and more as rich metadata tags. And metadata is essential to allow us to deploy fine-grained compliance policies, be able to search with precision, and to be able to unlock powerful workflows attuned to your specific needs. Project Cortex has a new range of AI capabilities that integrate all of that information with the graph to create a network of shared topics. And we distribute those shared topics using topic cards to allow you to connect to that knowledge from any application that you need to from inside Microsoft 365. Having said that, I'd like to introduce my colleague Naomi again to come on and talk to us in more detail about how Project Cortex works. Naomi?
Thanks so much, Chris. It's great to see how Project Cortex really fits into that whole value proposition that we have within Microsoft 365 for knowledge and insights inside of your organization. So let's talk a little bit about what these different experiences look like within Project Cortex. As you heard from our customer Mac, it's really about connecting people and knowledge all together. And so we've got a great range of experiences that allow you to build knowledge into your everyday experiences at work and the way that you discover topics and content and people that are relevant to you. I'm going to show you a demo that brings all of those elements together, both connecting the content from external outside of Microsoft 365, as well as bringing it in from inside of Microsoft 365, and then finding both the people and content that's relevant. So let's have a look at that. So here I am in Microsoft 365, and I can do a search within my intranet. So let me click on Mark 8, for example, if I'm interested to understand a little bit about this project and what it's all about. Now you'll see, in addition to the regular search results, I also have a great topic answer card here. And that topic answer card gives me a little bit about this particular project area. And I can also check out the people and the resources that are associated with this too. And you can see that I've also asked for things like feedback here, and it's able to give me some curation ability too as part of this. Now, when I look at this Mark 8 card, you'll notice, if you're sort of sensitive to these things, you'll see that there's actually a link here to a specific wiki. And so that's actually showing a little bit about the content connectors that we're bringing in. Now, if I move on to looking, for example, at a news page, so oftentimes you're browsing inside of your intranet and you're like, hey, I don't know what these projects are inside of my organization. You'll notice in this news page here that Mark 8 has actually been automatically highlighted for me. This highlight shows me, when I hover over it, a topic card. And this topic card is the same one we just saw within that search result, and it's actually been generated by AI automatically. Now, as you check out the description here, I've got some people and resources that are connected in here. And you'll see right here in this resource area that it's actually connected to a MediaWiki source. So when I click through onto MediaWiki, it'll open up with the MediaWiki page where this content was sourced from. So here's my MediaWiki page. You can see all of this information. And this was brought in by one of the Microsoft Graph content connectors that Chris mentioned earlier. Now, as I tab through, you can see all this great content, and that mining has happened automatically as part of Project Cortex. Now, if I click through onto the topic card, I will, of course, go to a topic page. This topic page, of course, has been generated by AI, and then people can come in and actually curate this as well. So I can see here there's a definition, I can see some of the people that are working on this particular project, and I can see that some of them have been curated and some of them have already contributed to some of the resources. And the great thing here is that we're really using AI to help build this page and then maintain it, but you as a subject matter expert can come in and add whatever you need. So for example, the folks that are here, the folks that have been AI Minder referenced here, and then you can check out the different resources. Now you'll see that there's some of those resources have already been curated inside of your organization, and then some have been discovered. And so this is where that great MediaWiki content is being brought in automatically as part of that content that's connected into Microsoft 365. And I can even check out the different topic map that we have here. So I can even use this as a navigation device as well to see in different types of content within my organization. So that helps to understand a little bit about what we're doing with connecting people to knowledge and how we're mining content within Microsoft 365, in addition to content that's being connected in through the Microsoft Graph. But of course, connecting and mining through all of the content you have in Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Graph is just the beginning. This is all about how you can really help knowledge in the discovery of work. And so when you think about these different experiences, we want to show you the great range within Microsoft 365 of how you'll be able to access this knowledge as you're doing your everyday work. So here I am inside of Teams in this case, so I can click through. For example, here there's some pilots and projects that I'm not familiar with. And as I look at these different areas here, I can hover over them. I see those annotations happening the same way, and I actually get a topic card that helps me to understand a little bit about those particular projects. Now, the great thing here is I get to, experience as much or as little of the information as I need. If I just need a quick refresher, essentially, on what is this particular area, in this case, core, then I can click through and look at this thing, but I can also just check out some of the people and the resources that are available to me as part of this too. So let me go through here and then click through onto the particular topic page. And as I do that, you'll see that this topic page has been automatically created again by AI. And the great thing here is that I get a real good sense about this specific topic. So again, a curator could come in and help to curate some of this information here as a subject matter expert, but I can also see the people and the resources that are really connected as part of all of this. Now, when I look through these different resources, you'll see there's a lot of information here. And so it's really great that AI is continually mining and helping with understanding this page and bringing more and more resources together. Now, of course, my most favorite part of all of this is the knowledge graph visualization. So we often refer to this as kind of a topic map. And this topic map is really helping you to understand how this thing is connected to other areas. And so I can really browse through and figure out how different projects and skills and initiatives and campaigns inside of my organization are all connected together. Now, I can, of course, use this as a navigation device as well. So, for example, if I'm interested in Mark 8, I get to click through onto Mark 8, and then I can see that topic page that's relevant as part of this too. When I click through from Mark 8, I know that I'll have a lot of different topics inside of my organization. Now, those topics are really put together in a new destination we call the Topic Center. And the Topic Center helps you to keep up to date with what you're doing every day and thinking about the different ways that I can follow knowledge and curate and see where I'm being mentioned as part of this knowledge discovery process too. But it's only just the beginning, of course. So we want to bring all of these things into every experience you have in Microsoft 365. And so just the same experience happens inside of Outlook. Oftentimes you might get a mail with something, an acronym inside of it that you don't understand. I know definitely within Microsoft, we have a whole bunch of acronyms that are really hard to keep up with. And so wouldn't it be great if it's able to annotate automatically, highlight that particular acronym, and I can just mouse over to see what that definition is. Really useful functionality. Now, of course, I also want to be able to explore through people. And in this case, I can also see the ways that Project Cortex is helping to discover content and topics that are relevant to me. And then even more importantly, suggest topics that I can add to a profile. So in this case, I can check out one of my colleagues in this area and I can see, his particular skills. And then when I do the skills, I can actually click through and understand a little bit more about those destinations as well. Now, let's think about the different ways that you might also consume these when you're creating documents or reading documents that come from other people. Inside of the Word canvas, this is a great way to be able to highlight a specific term and then to be able to do a smart lookup as part of this too. And I see that same consistent topic card experience through everything that I'm doing. Now, finally, one of the biggest areas you can think about is kind of that free flow of information, that not everything that is knowledge related is stored inside of a document. Oftentimes, it's just those one-to-one conversations that we have all the time. But I know, and so I'm sure you've had this experience too, where you've had a whole bunch of people who ask you the same question over and over. So wouldn't it be great if you could just call a knowledge bot, in this case from Project Cortex, and have it curate that question and answer and make it useful for other people inside of your organization? And as I showed earlier, that same experience exists inside of SharePoint with your intranet page, and I can mouse over those different communications that are coming out inside of my organization. If I'm not familiar with a term, I get to look at that same topic card and be able to explore all the richness from that as well. Now, of course, all of these experiences are based on the great work that we're doing with the Microsoft Graph. This is just one of the set of capabilities we have inside of Project Cortex. Now, a big element of all of this, of course, is based on Microsoft Search. And so it's really important to remember that the resources that we're mining, all of the permissions trimming, the security aspects are all really conditioned around what you already have with Microsoft Search. And so when you look at those Microsoft Search results, they're already being trimmed for you as a person. You don't ever see content that you're not supposed to. And the same thing is true with the topic pages that we have inside of Project Cortex. You're only ever seeing those resources that are being mined and curated, the things that are helping you to understand what you have access to and the content that's rich as part of that. When we look at Microsoft Search, there's a great way to be able to keep up to date with many of the insights that are happening, and there's a lot of personalization and customization options that are on top of this as well. One of the things I'm most excited about is just to get that central suite header inside of SharePoint and seeing that Microsoft Search experience light up across the whole of Microsoft 365 in a very consistent way. So bringing you the answers, the insights, and the recommendations you need every single day. Let's talk a little bit now about content processing and thinking about the different information that's coming into your organization and how you want to flow that information through your company in this intelligent and smart way. Now, oftentimes, this is kind of those areas that may be, hidden a little bit inside of your organization. So, for example, if I'm a project manager and I've sent out an RFP, I might have sent out the proposal and it's gone to a whole bunch of different vendors in the outside world, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of proposals that are coming back. And of course, as a project manager, I have to go through and actually manually extract information that's important to me as part of that. And so this is a great way to think about these new techniques and being able to apply those new techniques within your organization to extract what's important to you of information that's coming into your company, and then be able to attach workflow and other intelligence around it too. So we've also done a lot of work in terms of strengthening the metadata foundation. And you may have seen some of our recent blog posts. If you haven't, go check them out in terms of how we're modernizing the managed metadata service, as well as content types and the way that content types and the galleries are syndicated. All of this work is really a great part of Project Cortex because we don't think that AI is really a substitute for great IA. So if you think about the different ways that you use content types and taxonomy inside of your organization, if you were using them already, we think it's a great foundation for you to do more, and you'll be able to do even more capabilities in the future as well. Now, of course, a part of all of this, we don't expect every user inside of your organization to go tag all of this information, right? That's the completely unnecessary step in our perspective. But one of the things that we do want to think about is how people and AI are really partnering together to be able to extract what's important to you and to be able to process the content in new and intelligent ways. Now, there's a range of kind of techniques that you can use as part of Project Cortex. There is, of course, a bunch of things that you can do manually right now, and there's a great ways that we already support inside of Microsoft 365. But we're also looking at smart ways to help you out of the box. So, for example, we're putting some of the Azure computer vision capabilities directly inside of Microsoft 365, so that when you get intelligence from images, we're helping to extract text as part of that, doing some identification of what those types of images are as part of that as well. And then we're doing some great new techniques as well in Project Cortex. So think about, form processing. Form processing is one of those areas where you might have a very structured document, and we're able to, in this case, use the AI Builder platform from our Power Platform colleagues as a way to bring that information into your organization in an easy way. Now, one of my favorite methods in all of this is, of course, how we deal with unstructured information as well. With machine teaching, we have a new set of capabilities that allow you to extract what's important in the unstructured documents and be able to use those as part of approvals and workflows. Today, I'm going to show you a little bit about how you can do form processing using the great capabilities from the Power Platform and AI Builder. So right here within a document library, I'm able to go over to the Automate menu, and you'll see this connection here over to AI Builder. I get the option within my document library to create a form processing model. And I can go ahead and name this model as part of what I need to do here. And I get some advanced settings as well. So for example, I can create a new content type, but I could also use an existing content type. And I get to set the view here as well. When I create this model, it's actually going to take me over to the Power Platform. And you'll see I'm taken directly into AI Builder for the first time. And once I'm in AI Builder, then I'm able to see all of the different options that we have for form processing. So within AI Builder, I'm going to go ahead and find the documents that I want to train from. And with those documents, then I can actually click through into SharePoint. So if I already have those documents saved inside of SharePoint, I'm able to use this. So I'm just going to navigate to the site that I need the information from. So here I am over in Contoso Education. I'm going to check out the purchase orders, and I need 5 different types of information to train from here. So I'm just going to select all of these. And this allows me basically to take those structured documents that I want to extract information from, upload them, and then I'm able to train and analyze this information. So you can see they're getting uploaded. In this case, it actually has some intelligence as well to help you upload images that are different from each other. So if you've got any fear that you might have used the same image, you're able to go back and change that. So in this case, I do need at least 5. So I'm going to go ahead and add an extra document as part of this too. And I can do that in this case from my local drive. So I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to upload it here too. So then you'll see I get those 5 options, 5 documents are all uploaded, and I can go ahead and analyze this. Now, what's really important with the AI Builder service is, of course, that we have the same structured information. So think about that template. So forms that are coming into your organization. I'm using purchase orders in this example, but there's lots of other types of structured forms. And AI Builder's platform is actually going to go ahead and analyze all of those documents, and it's going to figure out which of the fields it can help me to extract as part of this. Once that analysis is done, I can actually go through and figure out the different fields that I want to extract, and that'll be the basis for my model. Okay, once that analysis is done, I'm able to go through and figure out which fields I want to extract from this information. Now you can see I get some helpful guidance as I go into the AI Builder experience, and you can see that there's a dotted line around some of these fields already. These are the ones where the machine learning has helped to analyze and identify which fields I can extract as part of this. So I'll go ahead and select the purchase order number because that seems like a great thing that I want to be able to explain. So PO, I'm going to add this field here. And then I'm going to look also at the specific vendor name in this case. So I'm going to say vendor and add that too. Great. So now I've got the fields that I want to capture as part of this. So I've got the date, I've got the different areas here, the vendor and the PO number as well. Now I'll need to go through and confirm my fields as part of this. And so it's going to take me through this little training experience here in this case to make sure that I'm confirming exactly the kind of data that I want. So I'm going to click this one and say, yes, this is in fact the data that I want. If I click next, I'll be able to identify the same fields over here too. So I'm going to click date and connect that one. I'm going to do the PO number as well. And then I'm also going to get the vendor name here too. So grab that one. And so I can do this same basically analysis for all of the fields that I'm interested in. And this basically is the great way to be able to make sure that it's confirming and training the model the way you expect it as part of this. So go through, do this one, spender, here we go, and keep clicking. And so even though, of course, many of these forms look exactly the same, they are in fact a little bit different. You can see that the line items in this case are different, and that really we're looking at the different ways that we can extract that information that's really necessary as part of this. This is what makes this really powerful, because otherwise this is a very tedious process. A poor person has to go through here and figure out these different areas, and all these invoices look the same after some time. And so we want to be sure that we're doing this in an accurate way. And that, of course, is really what we'd like to use AI for as part of this. So I click done and I've managed to do this. So now I'm going to go ahead and train my model. So in this case, my model's training, and so it'll go off and do some work here, and you can go grab a cup of coffee. Once I'm done with training, I'm able to apply my models to the specific SharePoint libraries that I have. So in this case, I've trained this model here, so I'll click through, and I can see that that form processing model is part of this. You can see that training is still running here, and once it's available to me, I'm able to publish it to my SharePoint document library. And we'll get a cup of coffee. So my model is now trained, and I'll click through here, and we can check out the details. You can see the documents that we used, and we'll go ahead and publish it. So once the publishing is happening within that document library, I could even do a quick test while I'm waiting and check out the information just to make sure that the things that I've expected to be extracted are part of this. So once it publishes this, you're going to see there's a couple different things that happen. One is that we actually have a flow that's running behind the scenes, powered by the Power Automate service. And that Power Automate service will be connected automatically within my SharePoint library. So I'm going to go ahead and use my model. And because I, of course, originated this whole area inside of SharePoint, it knows that I came from a document library. And I'm going to go ahead and use that right within that document library. So there's that Power Automate confirmation, making sure that I want to use this flow. And now I can go to SharePoint and go back to my document library. Great. So that was as easy as it can be, really, to think about how you set and train a model. And now, of course, I want to be able to upload some content and start processing it. So I'm going to upload a few more of these purchase orders. Obviously, I'm going to click through and make sure I connect to other things that we didn't use for the training in this case. So I'm going to grab a couple of these purchase orders, and you'll see those upload into SharePoint. And then I'm going to get a message here you can see that helps me to understand that there's an analysis happening on these files. In the meantime, you'll notice that automatically that new content type has been created on this particular SharePoint document library. So you'll see, in addition to the standard columns that we have for the document library, I've also now got a date column, a PO column, and a vendor column. And that's because I extracted those fields automatically, and that information came back from AI Builder, created that new content type, and now it's populated this columns directly here. So as it does its analysis, you're going to figure out and see that the information from that's being extracted from these different purchase orders will get populated as part of this too. Hit refresh. And you can see that the model has automatically extracted that information, and that information has been populated directly in here. Now, of course, I could take it one step further and start connecting it to other workflows inside of my organization, using things like Power Automate for an approval flow, or applying conditional formatting as part of this too. So that's all on the second pillar around content processing. I'm now going to hand it back to Chris to help you understand a little bit about how this connects with all the compliance offerings we have in Microsoft 365.
Thanks, Naomi. The content services, which are the foundation of Microsoft 365, is based on our SharePoint capabilities combined with the security and compliance engines of Microsoft 365. As we've seen before, Project Cortex helps you integrate content from inside and outside Microsoft 365 and is able to lay down rich sets of metadata tags. These work hand in hand with our compliance engine. Let's take a quick look at how that all comes together. So here, I'm in one of the new experiences of Project Cortex, the Content Center. As Naomi showed you before, the Content Center is a great place to be able to apply AI to automatically classify and tag content. I'm going to take a look at another library inside the Content Center Hub that I have organized for bringing information together from trade confirmations. If you see this, you'll see some of the data that I've already pulled out, and you see that I've applied a retention label. Working in conjunction with our compliance engine, I can select a document, view its properties, and automatically select the correct retention label that I want to apply to the document. I can tag this as a trade confirm to make sure that this content will be saved for a year and never deleted. It's great to allow users to participate in that, but Project Cortex and compliance can do even more. So now I'm in the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. I can take a look at my data classifications and analyze all of the labels that I have used to apply to my content. Labels are tags with special powers that I can use to enforce rules about security capabilities like encryption or compliance engines like retention. When I look at information governance, I can see all the labels that I've applied to my organization. Let's take a look at trade confirms. Here we can see the rules that we've set up to explain that this label will make sure that my content is locked in place for 1 year and will automatically be deleted. But I'm not limited to users interactively applying their labels. I can also use the compliance engine to automatically apply a label based on what Project Cortex has learned about my content. So I've chosen the label I want to apply, and I can make sure that this label will be automatically applied based on the content types which Project Cortex recognized with AI Builder. Once I've entered the content type, I give the policy a name and publish it, and my content will be automatically applied to the new compliance policy anytime Project Cortex recognizes that content. We've given you a quick tour of Project Cortex's capabilities for knowledge, processing, and compliance. What can you do to start getting ready for Project Cortex now? First and foremost, get your content into Microsoft 365, where you can light up content with metadata, compliance, search, collaboration, co-authoring, and more. Second, understand where your content is. If you can move it into Microsoft 365, great. If not, figure out your strategy for integrating remote content to Microsoft 365 using our content connectors. Third, the best experience for content inside Project Cortex and SharePoint pages is going to be in the modern experience. If you haven't already moved inside SharePoint, it's important that you do so. And lastly, make sure that you've got a good understanding of how your taxonomy and managed metadata services are being used throughout Microsoft 365 today. They are fundamental to providing the signals to help Project Cortex make the best use of your content. Project Cortex will reach general availability in early summer 2020. We can't wait to share it with you, but in the meantime, if you need more information, visit us at aka.ms/Project Cortex. Thanks, Naomi.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you to all of you in our awesome community. It's a wonderful community to be part of, and I'll be really excited to see what you do with Project Cortex.
Thank you for being a part of the Galactic Collaboration Summit. Join the community and meet in-person world-class Microsoft and MVP speakers this autumn in Wiesbaden, Frankfurt, Germany, with 15 full-day tutorials and over 150 Microsoft 365 and Azure sessions at the combined European Collaboration Summit and European Cloud Summit from 26 to 28 October 2020. Community rocks.